Welcome to episode 4 of the Cage Walk podcast with Kayla, presented by OddSmokerMMA. Tonight, I have the pleasure of having Nick Slim. Oh my God, Nick Slick Talavera here with me tonight. Sorry about that. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. They call me Slick Nick.
Slick. So I did that so backwards. Oh my God,
Oh,
dude.
good.
Oh my God.
I put it on my hat. Well, I can't really see it, but it's there. It's all
Wow,
good.
dude. I'm so sorry.
All
Let's try this again. Slick Nick Talavera.
right.
How are you doing tonight?
Good, good. Man, just another day in paradise, huh?
Isn't it always? Um,
Hmm.
So let's go ahead and jump in. Nick here is a Fury fighter. And we're going to jump into his early years and how he started his MMA career, how his amateur went, and then how his pro career is going. So why don't you go ahead and start us off where you want to?
So the amateur career really was like up and down all throughout my whole entire career because I didn't start with the gym that I'm at now. I started with a little bitty gym in Odessa. Pretty much, they were called Warrior Elite. I was the last of pretty much their dying breed in there. But I started my first 5 fights with them, and I only had about like 4 or 6 months of training, and I took my first fight. And well, I got my first fight, and I was underneath a guy named Luis Luna, but he lived in Seminole, which was an hour away from me. So driving back and forth every day, he couldn't do that every single day. So therefore, I was training myself. Honestly, my career at that point, I was 2-3. It was terrible for me, and it just things were not looking up for me. So I decided I needed to separate from him, and therefore I went to my rival gym, the man that just at that point we weren't even nothing. Like he despised me at the time. Like, but he's honestly a big-hearted guy, Des Hill, the owner of Rough House. Big-hearted guy. He's been there in times in my career that I can't thank him enough. Like I look up to Des now as more than just a coach. I look up to him as an older brother. Like we have a bond with each other that not a lot of people can say they have with the coach. And my boxing coach as well. He's honestly been a huge part in my MMA career, helping me with my hands because we all know my ground game is very dangerous, but my hands have been catching up to my ground thanks to Felix Alvarez and show style boxing, which they're very dangerous. But back to where I was, ever since I made that transition over to Rough House, Des doesn't believe in, hey, we got to take some easy fights to, pad your record, do this, do that, make you look good. No. In amateur careers, he believes you fight the top guy, you become the top guy. You become the fight everybody's worried about taking. I want my fighters to be ready and more than prepared to take on pro fights. So therefore, that's why my amateur career, I was 6-5 whenever I was done. But my very last fight, I was more nervous than anything because I knew who I was fighting. I was fighting a guy named Dale Bean, and I knew like, oh, he's a striker. He is a striker, which he tried to proclaim that he was a jujitsuist. Everybody knows you take him out, you take him down, that's it. He is really not that good on the ground. I don't even think he's fighting. I haven't seen him fight ever since I choked him out in that first round.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it was rough because before Dell, I was fighting the top dudes in every country from Louisiana to Texas to Oklahoma, always number one, always. And I was just always down to fight. Fighting at that time in my mid 20s, the early 20s, I felt like nothing could destroy me, nothing could take me down. So I was like, heck yeah, I made of steel, bulletproof. You know how the young people think all the time.
Oh
You
yeah.
can't get injured. You can't nothing. And that's how I thought. And shoot, fast forward to now, I'm in the pro career. My pro career started off 1-0. Then I took my next fight almost like 2 months directly after my pro fight for XKO. And I met a guy named Eric Enrique. Well, his name's Enrique Owens, but dude knew how to fight. Dude really had a heck of a punch. And that right there, that was the fight of my career right there. I've never fought anybody with more determination, more heart. And we literally couldn't walk out of the cage that night. We both made it to the door and we had to get our teammates to help us to walk out. Our legs were black and blue. His face was black and blue. I was cut up and I had black eyes on both sides. And we just looked at each other while spitting blood out of our mouth like, good fight. That sucked.
I'm
I lost. Yeah, I lost. And I was just sitting there like, man. And what's crazy is I met my fiance right at the end of my amateur career. That's whenever I met her. So whenever I lost my very first fight in my pro career, like she didn't know how to take it. I didn't know how to take it. I was thinking like I was going whole way undefeated as a pro. But there's guys out there that have your number someday,
Mhm.
which he had my number. And fast forward to where about 2 years after that, I went on a rampage on my pro career. I went 3-0 in 1 year and then just kept going and adding and adding ever since I joined Pretty Boy Management. And he's been my manager for about, I want to say 3, 4 years now. He's been really great to me, Chris. He's been really great to me, really beneficial to my career because he has the same mindset as Dez. Get the good fights that will get you further in your career. And so therefore, I remember he got me on LFA against Sensei, you know, Jodo. And Jodo was supposed to be predicted to knock me out with a head kick and all that. But once I get a hold of you, you better hope that you are able to get away because not a lot of people can get away once I grab you. um, shoot, it was just tough right there fighting Jodo, but I was more nervous. And what made it even worse is my coach had, correct me if I'm wrong, but Balls Paisley at the time. Like his whole side of his face drooped
Oh wow.
15 minutes before I walked out. Literally scared all of us. My mind went out the window right then and there, right before my LFA debut. I didn't know what to do. I was freaking out. My coach's wife was freaking out. My fiance was freaking out. We didn't know what to do. And Des, by the grace of God, pulled it fully back together enough to tell his wife to come tell me, tell Nick to go in the back, get his head right. We got a fight to win. I'll be there. Next thing you know, he was right behind me as soon as I walked out. And I was like, how are you walking?
That
And
is
he said, anything for my
insane.
guys. Yeah, he said, anything for my guys. Anything. I never lost faith in Dez ever. Like, that was insane. We fought that night. He coached me that night, yelled at me. I didn't, I told him, I'll make this quick. I will make this quick. And next thing you know, first round finish. Pow. Shocked the world. Shocked the world. But you know who wasn't shocked? Dez. He wasn't shocked. Roughhouse wasn't shocked. They knew how hard I've been working. They know how hard that, how much blood, sweat, and tears I had into that camp. Nothing was going to stop me from winning that fight. And after that fight, I got lucky and got a call from Bellator because my manager Chris, he had connections, and he just decided like, hey, you just proved a huge point on LFA. Let's go to Bellator after this. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Supposed to fight Lucas Brennan, but midway through my camp, I had a partial tear in my ACL. Like during camp, I threw a mean hard kick and something just went pop in my knee, and I didn't know what it was. All I felt was pain. I even got it on video whenever I popped it. I didn't know what was going on. I just thought, I threw a wrong kick. I'll be all right. A couple of weeks. I waited about a week until I started training again, and I started going hard again. Next thing you know, I was hitting pads, and I threw some power behind my right hand, and then my right leg just gave out. Boom. And I went to the ground, and I was like, what happened? He goes, I think he tore something. And I was like, nah, hell no. We're still going to fight. I fast forward to the actual week of fight. I showed up to Bellator in Chicago. Feel terrible about this, but I showed up. They noticed that I had a fake physical because I couldn't get a real physical because of my knee.
Mm.
So, shitty thing on my part, I went and literally faked a physical so I could go fight because there was nothing going to stop me from getting in that cage. Having the chance to fight on Bellator at that time in my career was huge. I would be the first in all of Rough House to actually get in that cage and fight. That chance didn't happen because they found out the truth. They found out my knee was messed up. I faked the physical. They did their homework super quick and made sure I wasn't bullshitting them. Sucked for me, honestly. I really I thought my world was done. I thought it was over for me, and this whenever everything went from up here to down immediately because right after that, I guess my guilt, my anger, everything started eating me up. I couldn't eat. I couldn't keep food down. I was in and out of the hospital. They kept telling me like, you just got a stomach bug. You're all right. Nah, it felt worse than a stomach bug. Then I just kept going through it and going through it, and more problems were happening. I dropped down all the way to 139 pounds. I fight at 145. I was so sick, felt like I was on death's bed right there. My fiance is looking at me crying every single time she sees me, and I'm telling her I'm fine. I'm fine. I didn't know what to do. I was sad, depressed. I had no other options left. I felt like I've exhausted all of my options. I felt alone. I felt sad. I was taking all of my anger out on everybody that was around me. I felt like I hated the world at that time. Nothing felt right. I was literally going through it. And we found this specialist in Odessa where I live now. They told me that they needed to do a colonoscopy, and I had no money to do it. So they gave me some temporary pills to help me feel better. And they told me, don't get stressed out no more. These pills are only for temporary. But for right now, don't get stressed out because if you do, it's going to happen again. So I took those pills. And remind you, my ACL is still torn. I haven't had surgery. I was still going through that. And I decided, okay, the other tour didn't work out for me, so I'm going to go fight. I picked up a fight against a pretty bad dude named Justice Torres. I fought that dude, and he immediately found out I had a bad knee with no ACL. And next thing you know, I popped it completely in half, the whole ACL in the cage.
Wow.
Yeah, I was sitting there on the ground thinking like, what else? What else is for me, huh? What else is coming, man? And then, of course, I stressed out. I went through ACL repair surgery, started stressing the whole entire time I was in recovery, started weighing down on myself, and then my stomach problems came back. At this time, I had changed jobs. I got a better paycheck every once in a while. So it was like, okay, fine, I'll do the colonoscopy this time. So I did it, found out I got ulcer which ulcer ulcer causes my colon on the inside to get inflamed to the point it will push my whole entire organs and everything to the side to where I can't eat. I cannot sit there and be comfortable anymore. It eats me up from the inside. So now every other week, ever since I found that out, I have to inject Humira into the fat of my stomach. And they said this is just something, a part of life that you have to live with now. And it sucks because Humira weakens my immune system every time I take it. Weakens me, honestly, I feel like, but still hasn't stopped me from going to the gym, putting in the work like I'm supposed to, fighting. I won't let a drug stop me from doing what I can do or what I know I can do because I just refuse to accept defeat off of something that he has just given to me. Like, I understand it's a challenge, but you know what? Work still got to be put in regardless just to get in that cage. Well, ever since we got that figured out, I finished my rehab on my right ACL. Man, that right there was crazy. Going through all of that, I finally was just about there, you know. And then I talked to my coach, Des, do you think I'll ever fight again? And he, of course, Des being Des, he tells me the truth. He said, that's up to you if you want to fight again. You're not trusting that knee anymore. So you're not landing on your power shots. You're not throwing kicks. You're not doing anything to help yourself. If you want to fight, you got to show me you got to fight. You got to want to get back. And ever since that day, I was just sitting there like, yeah, this has become a mental game. This has become the fight that it's me against me. I got to beat my mind, tell myself, hey, it's okay to use this right knee again. It's good. It's fine. Just throw it. And in that time frame, I was like, all right, I got to get ready for the fight. I took a fight and it said December 15th. And it was about late October. Yeah, it was about late October whenever I took that fight. And I decided, screw it. I'm getting in there. I'm beating myself. So therefore, I can win. So this whole entire time, I was fighting myself throughout camp, trying, and trying. Gosh, came the time of weigh-in. I didn't think I was gonna make weight. I was more scared. I had to call my boss and tell him, "Hey, I don't think I'm gonna make weight, dude. I gotta take off of work so I can start dropping more weight throughout the day and then rest throughout midday and then go back to the gym at nighttime and cut more weight." And he said, whatever you gotta do, man, go do it. So came fight night or weigh-in day, I finally got and made weight. I came in under, I think, 2 pounds, and they let me weigh in an hour ahead of time. So I started drinking water, and then I went and did my official weigh-in that day, which was an hour early. And so I finally weighed in at 144. I was like, yeah, I can still
Did it.
do it. I can still do it. Being 6 foot, and still weighing in at 145 feels amazing because those most of the dudes are not that tall. Honestly, most of them are not. But lately, I've been seeing dudes that are like 6'1" and 6'2", and I'm like, hmm, that's gonna be a crazy fight for me. Let's see how we do. But um, yep, I took that fight over there in Houston. Gosh, that's a long drive for me. I might ask for a flight next time. But Fury, they honored their contract and told me I still got 3 fights left on my contract, which thank you, Eric Garcia and all of Fury Promotions. I appreciate everything that y'all have done for me. And they honored that and said, you always have a spot here. And they really meant that. And they put me against their champion. His name, I forgot his name. Joshua, something like that. But he's known for like being an explosive fighter. He had their amateur 145 title belt. He was honestly, they called him the All Star for a reason. He is that dude. And I was just like, ooh, that's gonna be a tough fight to come back from. But you know what? I knew I had experience over him. I had more cage time than him. So I know how to handle different fighters throughout different obstacles. And he was just another puzzle I had to put together right there. And I was like, okay, we can do this. Not gonna lie, the first 2 rounds, not my best. Not my best. My cardio looked terrible. I looked terrible. I was getting my face beat in for 2 rounds. And I just knew like, damn, this dude has been hammering away at my face. I'm tired. I know he's gotta be tired. Especially from throwing everything that he's got at me. So here comes that 3rd round, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna throw the combo we've been working this whole entire camp. So I threw a right hand, hook to the body, and I missed with that second right hand because he ducked down holding his stomach. And I knew, I was like, oh, I cracked you in the stomach. We knew you were weak to the body. So if I hit you in the body, you're gonna crumble. And it was so clean. I saw it. It hit right in the center of his gut. And I was like, and a striker trying to take you down, come on, that's just obvious. Like, oh, you hurt him.
Oh yeah.
And I just locked in that Kimura. And once I felt him lay on the cage, I was like, oh, I got it. I'm going to break your shoulder, dude. And I got that win. And it just felt like the world lifted up off of my head. I felt like I'm back. I'm here. And then next thing you know, I immediately booked another fight against Kevin Rosas. I knew who he was. He knew who I was. And we were like, screw it, let's fight, dude. Why not? But
Hey, Nick, real quick.
uh yeah.
For some reason, Zoom only gives a allotted time slot, so we're down to 4 minutes.
Okay. I'm almost done.
So if you want, what we can do is we can end this one and start another one. I don't know, it won't let me for some reason extend it. I just didn't want to get cut off.
Go
But so
ahead.
if you want to finish up the story, we can, or what we can do is we can go to it. We can do a Slick Nick Talavera part two.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
If you on like another day, or do you want to do it today?
We'll do it today. It's all good.
Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and end this one. I'm going to send you a new one. So stay tuned,
All right.
y'all. We'll be right back. Okay. All right.